Hey, Sooner Nation, welcome back. Welcome to the Champion Standard. Your hosts, Rob and Brad, are back for another podcast. Please like, subscribe, comment. Glad to have you back with us again. Sorry, it's on another losing note.
Oh
But
man,
I would say we're getting used to it, but we're Oklahoma. We don't get used to losing. And
no,
I'll never say that till the day I die. So tough loss. Another tough loss yesterday. Lost to the Rebels 26-14 down in Oxford. Some positives. Unfortunately, it was a tale of two halves. We came out, played some good ball offensively the first half.
hmm
I can get into that a little more in a minute, but moved the ball. Actually had a lead going into half. We don't know what that really feels like for quite some time.
right.
Uh, Yeah, just defense held up good in the first half. They held up really good against the run the entire game, but played really good first half. Stuffing the run well. Wasn't giving Dart a lot of opportunities the first half. I thought we played well. Certainly looked a little different
Sure.
offensively. Offensive coordinator change. You could see a difference in the play calling.
Yep.
I know it's different, different offensive schemes, so we can get into that a little more here in a little bit. But yeah, another game that kind of got away from us. We feel like we had another opportunity to, win a football game,
Yep.
and unfortunately, and I put a note here to make sure and mention it, but the Texas game, it was the second quarter meltdown. The South Carolina game, it was the first quarter meltdown, and then yesterday third quarter meltdown against Ole Miss. So
Yeah.
one quarter every game just bites us in the butt every time.
Right. And that's what happens with bad football teams. You don't play a complete game. You're a bad football team. You're gonna have bad quarters, and you're gonna let invite in the offense or opposing offense or defense to take the game away from you. So I don't know if we'll see a full 4 quarter game again. Maybe Maine. I mean, hopefully Missouri,
Oh,
if we can snag a win,
yeah,
but
yeah.
4 quarter football might not be something that we see this year. We're gonna have to have like an amazing
Other
1 or
three
2
quarters.
quarters
Yeah,
to get that W.
yeah, um, yeah. So we can get into some of the film, look at some of your stats, get into some takeaways here in a minute. Before we do that, I want to thank our sponsors. Woodworks Distillery. You and I went up there. I know. I'm
I
looking
was
for
like
my
I'm like, "Oh, no."
glasses in the kitchen right now. I'm not going to stop and go get it. So, um, but yeah, we went up there a couple weeks ago and saw Dave and the guys.
Yeah,
Uh, they look like they were busier than ever. I know they got all kinds. Yeah, they're just filling up their distillery room with all kinds of stuff these days. So
yeah.
I feel like they're growing. And then your liquor store around the corner, 9 East.
90s liquor right next to Rudy's. Go say hi to Zach and find a good selection of your whiskey and everything else as well. But like he takes pride in what he puts on the shelf. He tastes everything that he personally likes. With that limited shelf space, he's got to like it. So you'll find a good selection there over there. 90s liquor.
So yeah, let's get into our takeaways.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first takeaway I got, I always like to mention the defense, and again, I mentioned I thought they played good enough to win the football game. Um, our front four and our backers, man, I've been impressed with them. I know, our question's been the line the last couple of years, but man, our
hmm
line is disruptive. Even with guys, I felt like guys were dropping off like flies the first quarter there with injuries.
Yeah, yeah.
Dominic went down, and who was the other one? Uh,
Um.
it wasn't
Oh my
Halton,
gosh.
was it?
Yeah, Holton was down for.
Was Jackson? Did he go down too?
I
But
don't. Maybe.
but guys were just getting banged up and just laying on the field there, and I was like, "Yeah, we don't need any more of this. We've had our share of
Yeah.
injuries."
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I thought defense played good enough. Uh, obviously the secondary gave up some plays in the second half. Ultimately that led to that third quarter meltdown that we talked about.
Yeah.
But defense just keeps getting put in bad spots again. Offense didn't score a single point in the first half. So, I mean, second half, pardon me.
Right.
And that's just asking a lot for your defense just to kind of continue to, win the game or hold your opponent to, you know, a single touchdown or something and a half. But I really appreciate the fight in this team. I think that goes back to BV's culture. And I appreciate the fight. This team has shown up every week, even though their goals are taken away from them.
Right.
It's a pride thing. They just keep showing up and playing hard, and you have to love that if you're a fan, despite the outcome of the game. Just watching these guys continue to fight, and I know I appreciate it, and so do you. So, yeah, defensively, a couple of names. This is 2 weeks in a row. I feel like Trace Ford has kind of shown up and been all over the
I know.
place.
He's having
Uh,
a great season.
he really is.
Trace Ford's having a great season.
You know,
He's so versatile. I mean, he plays as a backer. They've put him in that cheetah role too, and then
mhm.
they've had him in that SWAT package, rushing the passer, and he's had a good quiet season. I wish he had another year of eligibility, man. He would
I
have.
know.
He carved himself a really cool role. I mean, there was a play where he covered a tight end on a wheel route. He was running down 20 yards on the sideline and covered it perfectly. That's a defensive end that shed some weight, and he's running with tight ends down the sideline. I mean,
Yeah,
he's having a good season, man.
he looks great in coverage. It's a shame both he and R. Mason were kind of banged up last year and just dealing battling injuries most of the year,
Mhm.
and we've seen what these guys can do when they're healthy.
Yeah.
Just they've definitely been probably the leaders on the end this year. I know you got Woolard and Downs. They're good. They're good. You know, kind of secure in the ends, but they don't have the ability to cover and pass rush like those other two. So
No.
yeah, the defensive ends and man, our interior line, Halton, Jackson, all those guys. I appreciate the way that group's played all year, and I think we'll look back and realize that interior line's probably one of the best we've had in
A long
what
time,
10 years or more. I
at
don't
least.
know.
At least.
Um, a
At
very
least.
long time. So that was an area that we know has to be stronger when you go into the SEC, and it looks like we've made strides in there. But yeah, any other thoughts on the defense before I move over to the offense?
Yeah, I know the stat sheet for RMT didn't really pop. I mean, he didn't have what was his stat line? He didn't have a whole bunch of sacks in this game, but his presence was felt. I mean, he single-handedly, yeah, I mean, he finished with 1 assist, 0 tackles. There's yeah, 0 tackles, 1 assist, no sacks, no yeah. I mean, RMT's stat line is, like, not great when you look at it on paper, but you turn on the film, he was exerting his presence. He was
Right.
getting into Jackson him
Mhm.
flushed, and he forced a couple of balls, into the ground. I mean, it doesn't end up on the stat sheet, but RMT had, like, 3 or 4 plays where his presence was felt, and he ended the play. Some of my other notes, Jane Jackson, run defense, we
Mhm.
mentioned him.
Mhm.
Uh, I still am just, like, amazed that this kid was just playing high school ball a year ago, and he's standing up these 6'2", 330-pound grown men, and he's getting his arm extension. He's finding the ball with his eyes, and he's getting off the block as an
He's
18-year-old kid.
Yeah,
Like, that's pretty wild. I mean,
he's
his ceiling is so damn high,
I
like,
know.
incredibly high.
Yeah.
The other note I had, I thought Kip Lewis had a great game.
Mhm.
And run defense, crafty. He avoids those guard blocks so like he's slippery. Like you can't get his hands on him. He avoids the block, makes the play. I thought Ethan Downs had a good game. Kind of just he's proved, smart player, smart football player, smart, veteran guy who's seen tons of football. He ain't gonna be tricked on. You remember that play? It was a fourth down. They were trying. Ole Miss went for it over there by the goal line, and they tried a little outside zone. They were trying to fake the Wildcat to their 300-pound nose tackle that was a running back, and they did a little jet sweep to his side. He stayed home. He made the play. He didn't get sucked into it. Veteran baller, smart player. That was one of my last notes. I mean, defense was all pretty good. I think some of the things that they ran into issues with, and it's been that way since Texas, is guarding tight ends. Those Ole Miss tight ends were getting loose in the middle of the field. They were
Yeah.
leaking them out. They would pass block, leak out, get it, a 3rd and 6 first down. They would, and then again, one of Ole Miss's touchdowns, they go quad to the field side. Danny is looking at the third receiver. You have our freshman safety sitting there flat-footed, and the tight end just goes right there in the middle, splits the safeties, and gets a touchdown. I think, defensively, I think going forward, how they figure out how to defend a tight end in the passing game. Gunnar Helm ate their lunch with Texas. I thought like Lane Kiffin saw that on film and started drawing up all kinds of stuff for their tight ends. That's could be probably one of the bigger things they have to work on. The other is stop biting on double moves. Woody was doing it early in the season. Kanai, for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, they weren't even targeting sticks and hitches and all those sit routes to the outside. They weren't even targeting that,
Yeah.
and he bid on it. And that was right before he covered a fade route, like a fade. He's like doing this, like none of this shit, none of that. And then he comes right back and bites on a double move, and it's like, oh, bro, come on, man. Just got to be a little bit more disciplined at the corner spot, figuring out how to stop these tight end in the passing game. Because everything else, I mean, we're nitpicking. I mean, they only gave up 26 points,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a great game. They did more than enough to win this game. You're gonna have a busted coverage in every single game. It's just gonna happen. And modern spread, like that's go watch Georgia and Alabama and all these great Oregon and Ohio State, all these other teams. They're having busts as well. 26 points on the day. The game went down to the wire. Ole Miss was not pulling back. They were still trying to score points. Our defense was in it. They played hard. They played smart, disciplined football uh, for the most part. Getting those corners to stop biting on double moves, stopping the tight end pass game. That's pretty much after that. I mean, your run defense is so damn good. I mean, Ole Miss only had like 3 yards per carry on the day. I mean, they I don't even think they had a 50-yard rusher, did they?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, yeah. So defense did good.
Yeah.
Defense, we're nitpicking. Defense did great.
Yeah. Agreed. And went up against, again, one of the better offenses in the country, if not top 2. So we played Ole Miss, Texas, Tennessee. They're 3 of the top 5 offenses in the country. At least they were about a week or 2 ago. So
Yep.
we knew that going in the schedule. So yeah, just another, and we've held 2 of them around 25 points. Obviously, Texas scored 34, but that was an inept offense kind of day. So
Yeah.
defense has held up good even against the country's best offenses. So
Yep.
no shame there. Moving on, second takeaway, offense. Gosh, first half, that was the first time I think we've seen some rhythm and some, good run game in weeks.
Yeah.
Just some creative play calling mixed in there. Guys, guys executing, and Barnes was running hard, finding running lanes, and
Yes.
Tatum, hold on to the ball, Tatum, man. You can't
I
make it
know.
fumble once a game. God
Ah.
darn it. But yeah, you can tell he's just got some versatility to him and explosiveness, and he's picking up some of the subtleties of the game as a freshman. That always takes a little while, but I like the Barnes Tatum backfield right now. Those guys both run hard and just finding the holes. There was more holes I felt like this game created, whether if that was, Finley, taking over for Latrell,
Sure.
simplifying blocking. Obviously, I'm not going to know that because I don't know the X's and O's like you and the other guys out there. But yeah, they were running the ball great.
Yeah. I
Really,
think I think Joe John Finley definitely broke some tendencies. He broke some tendencies that Littrell got used to running over and over again each and every week. And I thought him breaking tendencies, you could tell that they kept a playbook focused on what they wanted to do. And that first half, I mean, he besides the no huddle and then sub stuff, I thought he had a great first half. You know, that tempo. We're gonna go fast, but we're gonna sub, and then Ole Miss is like, okay, we'll sub too. It's like
yeah.
he was slow. Joe John was slowly, figuring stuff out, condensing his personnel grouping, figuring out his personnel grouping. Here's your set of plays. That way you can keep going fast if you wanted to go fast. I don't mind tempo. I know a lot of people are like, slow the damn ball, slow the damn game. I don't mind going fast because you can if your offense can do it. And our offensive line is one of the least penalized offensive lines in football. The problem they have is that they're not blocking sound. Their assignments are blocking. But
Mhm.
if you can go fast, the only thing that should stop you is your assignments, right? Like if you're least penalized offense, you're not getting holding penalties, you're not, your false starts. You could go fast and catch that defense. We caught them actually a couple of times not set right, and we made them pay for it. So I thought Joe John had a pretty good first half. I thought he broke some tendencies of Latrell, and I thought he kind of figured it out by like mid first ish.
Mhm.
But run game, we said it last week. Last week versus South Carolina was our best run football we've had in the SEC. They were getting to the second level for the
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
all game long. Guys, guards, tackles, getting to the backers. That's what we want. Get to the backers. Get to the backers. Get these running backs
Mm.
some opportunities to make people miss. Get a safety to make a miss. And I thought it was kind of funny. We were getting to the second level. We had that great run
Mhm.
game, and
Mhm.
Latrell gets let go, and then now we're here. We're seeing the offensive line still getting better in the run
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. They make good progress in the run game.
They're
We're
they're
both
they're
we're both
getting
clarifying in the run game. In
in
the
the
run game.
run game. They're getting better. We'll get to the other part later.
Yeah. So let's turn the page on the first half, and then we came out of the locker room second half, and then the offense never sniffed the end zone again. Um, Second half just stalled out. Whatever you know, Arnold was just running for his life in the second half, or not even having the ability to run for his life, and what was it, nine or 10 sacks, depending on what you look at. I think
Yeah,
the majority of those were in the second half and probably in the last
sacks. Yeah,
quarter. Yeah, it was just
yeah. There
crazy.
was 7 sacks in the final 6.5 minutes of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Now they counted one that I thought was probably a TFL, but there was they counted 7 sacks and in the first half, I think they had 2 pressures and 2 sacks, I think. I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at it too, but
Mhm.
the first half offensive line, third quarter offensive line pass protection wasn't bad.
Mhm.
The meltdown was when that drive 8 or 9 where we're at, 14-26 and we're 20 yards away from a score and we just get sack, 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 like
Yeah,
two of them in a row.
yeah.
And it was all she wrote there. And after that we become one dimensional
Yep.
and and then it's just
And pinned
Ole
their
Miss
ears
was just
back
teeing
and
off.
came after us. Yep.
Yep. Just
Like
tee off.
every defense, yeah, just handed it to him after that. But yeah, that was pretty rough. So yeah, 9 or 10 sacks yesterday. That makes 19 in the last 2 weeks, and that
Whew,
makes 39 for the year, I believe, which
39.
is way we're
What's the worst?
leading. we're leading, I think, in that
Yep.
category in the country or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
That's not a good stat to lead in and
Nope.
expect production on the offensive side. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, offensively, we're seeing progress. We get Maine coming up this week, so hopefully you get a little more rhythm established. Sexton I'm guessing he may be out for a while just by watching him. Hats off for him coming back in the game and playing on
Right.
that leg or that foot or whatever it was, man, because that looked nasty. But yeah, switching gears. Last takeaway. It's really pretty simple. Just need to win 2 games the rest of the year.
Just 2.
And we got Maine coming up this week. That should be an easy win.
It's gonna be a win.
I say, yeah. But
It'll be a win.
if we lose to Maine, you and I are having a whole different podcast next Sunday. The theme
Yeah.
will not be good.
No.
So
we're gonna win. We'll win,
yeah,
Maine.
I know.
We're gonna win.
So
Not worried about it.
just saying. So 2 wins. Yeah, we get 1 this week, and then hopefully that Missouri game's the one that looks like an opportunity to get that second win, because those last 2, that Alabama and LSU game, yeah, I'm not feeling those right now.
I think that Missouri game, much like with Ole Miss, I think we're gonna travel our physicality. I think once they get the tape of this last game and they start looking at it and realize how good they really were with the counter stuff that they were running in the first half, that they're going to keep expanding on that, and they're going to go to Missouri, they're going to go to Columbia and just run the damn ball. That's what they're going to do. They're going to run the damn ball. Defense is going to play hard. I I think that's our number 2 win in our bowl practices. It has to be, because that Alabama team coming in and going on the road to LSU, I don't know that Missouri game. These players know too. I mean, they follow, they watch, they know.
Yep.
They got that Missouri game circled. They want to play. They want to get to the bowl game and get some extra practices in and everything. And we need those extra practices.
Yeah.
For EPL, for Ozida, for Bauer, for all these guys are coming back that need to get better. Our nucleus of young players that need to get better. We need those extra bowl practices to get our young nucleus of players extra reps and get some extra time.
Yeah, I'd like to get EPL and Brooks and some of those guys some run the next few weeks if we could, not just bowl practices, which aren't guaranteed just quite yet, but just get them some run. You're not going to burn red shirts at this point in the year, getting guys in the game. With Sexton potentially out, I think that opens up opportunities for freshmen to come in and get a little bit of run. So hopefully we see that. I just want to end on a good note, end the season on a good note, get to potentially do a bowl game, get the practices that you keep talking about, and really just kind of turn the image of the program at the end of the year a little bit, for recruiting sake, for program appeal, to entice offensive coordinators, to look at us again, and just to let people know that this year, we've talked about it, perfect storm. It's just an anomaly.
It
just
is
one of those one-off years. That's not the norm here in Norman. We just got, just kind of those 1 year, everything just happened to fall apart on one side of the ball, and, right the ship and, make next year the redemption year. I don't want to get into looking ahead to next year already, but I just think we have the ability to, finish strong here and, end on a positive note. So,
yeah.
That's my last takeaway. I don't know if you want to get into some of the stats from yesterday.
All right, let's dive into some stats.
Yep.
All right. So I'm just gonna kind of rip through this. um, so we averaged 4.1 yards a play. Our average third down distance was 8 yards. That's been like 8 or 9 like all year. Um, Average distance to score was 75 yards. We had 13 drives, and we had 2 scoring drives.
It's 2 weeks in a row we've had 2 scoring drives only.
Yep. Coming down here, play to the flat was our most successful play. We had a flat play to Bauer Sharp for 20, and then we started actually taking some free yards to like Jacob Jordan, the Barnes. A lot of these, one of these was in the fourth quarter, but that was technically our most successful play was to the flat. Then you had some quarterback rushes. There was some purposefully designed guard H back quarterback counter that's in here most likely. And then there's some read option here where they again counter action, read the defensive end, quarterback keeper. Let's see here. Insert, man, I don't think we've ran insert this much in a game all year. I mean, I could look it up, and I'm pretty sure we did not. Like, this is by far the most insert, and they did it in different ways. I think at least a couple times they had Bauer lined up as an H back, and which kind of helps with your angles versus being as a wing. But majority of these were from the wing, and they were attacking backside, attacking play side. But they found some success with this, and Bauer needs to get a little bit of recognition for his blocking because in prior games, especially in the earlier in the year, effort was not there. We all watched one last week where effort was not there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name who did that, but they definitely added that. Now, I wouldn't say they added it, but they made it a staple, added some different formations to it, added some tweaks to it to cut down angles, put an H back instead of a wing. Makes it easier for the tight end to attack the line of scrimmage. And then counter. I love counter. Counter's like one of my favorite plays. Different variations. We had a sniffer. We had some twin stack. We had some again what I call ace twins is just it's wing, but I don't really call it wing because back in the day, wing usually meant the tight end wasn't going to go vertical, but in today's spread game, they go vertical no matter what if they're wing or on the line. But had some orbit motion, which was cool, where they motion Tatum from was split out wide, and then he motioned into the box, almost kind of like a slide motion into a counter. But this counter play, for 36 yards on the day, really kind of opened up the split zone and inside zone later. But they led into it at the beginning of the game. Here's your inside zone. Probably the least amount of inside zone that we've ever ran. Only ran it 4 times, which is awesome. Anything else you want to see here, Brad?
No, you're talking about the run game. One thing that I didn't mention earlier, and it has nothing to do with the run game, but Brennan Thompson's running open,
Yes, he is.
and we just can't
Every
get him the
game.
ball. Every
Every
day,
game.
every game he is open, and we either don't have the time or don't see him, and
Yep.
and it's a shame because he's our only real threat right now, and it's there. The threat is there to go downfield and make big plays. I know I'm getting off track here, but
No, you're good.
um, yeah, it's frustrating to see that. And I know we need a Burks. We need 2 or 3 healthier wide receivers, so we just don't have this one threat out there in the passing game. Jacob Jordan's kind of coming on. So I'm really excited to get a couple more receivers healthy. in the next 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks from today it'll be in the Missouri game, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have 2 more receivers that are healthy at a minimum by that game.
Burks and Farouk.
Those are the 2 I'm thinking. And off chance for one other, but let's just assume 2. Let's not get
That's when shit's gonna open up, man.
Yep.
Missouri has no idea.
So
One of the other things I thought was a kind of a tendency breaker in personnel groupings is we ran a lot of 3-by-1 tray, which is trips with a tight end split out, or I call trips when you've even got a wing and 2 receivers on the boundary. But that was a kind of a tendency breaker as far as Joe John Finley is running more tight end, and especially also the formation into the boundary. And dang it, I don't know if I have it in here. I should. We ran a lot to the boundary. And I guess I don't have it as a selector here. I might have to add that because that was another tendency breaker. They were putting a lot of the formation, grouping up majority of the players to the boundary side, forcing Ole Miss to put more players on that side, and then we would either go to the single receiver side or we would run a counter insert to the field side too. But let's go.
no,
Again,
definitely some running lanes there that didn't seem to be there the last couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah. So here's another graphic to kind of just overall look at our top plays. There's a top number of plays, and you can see inside zone and shit zone. I mean, split zone both dropped, and insert and counter were our mainstays. Those were they went into this game. Joe John Finley went into this game and said, "I want to run insert and I want to run counter." That's very different than what Seth Luttrell was doing, as he was running more split zone and inside zone, kind of just bashing his head into it. And also these counter plays that Joe John Finley did. He did some pretty, I wouldn't say creative stuff, but stuff that we have not seen this year from this offense. Stuff that he obviously went into practice and said we need to do this, we need to do that, and not only that, but we executed it at a high level. So I like this. I'm a counter guy. I love counter. Counter is awesome. Seeing this start to tick up, and that's great. When I heard some stuff before Texas about us running counter, I was a little skeptical because our tight ends weren't blocking very well, and our tackles and our guards weren't reading their blocks. We've slowly gotten better and better and better. Last week we got better. This week we took a whole nother step getting into this counter game. Deception and destruction, man. Deception and destruction.
Yeah, no. So, run game blocking, it's been decent for part of the year. It's just been, one either running back, maybe picking the wrong hole, or just someone on the outside, whether it's a tight end or whatever, just not picking up a blitz. The run game just hasn't been able to get starting. So
yeah,
it's definitely looking like it's heading in the right direction.
So where's the sore spot to this offense, Brad? Where do we need to improve?
Pass
protection? Yeah. So let's take a look at that. Okay. So looking at pass protection, looking at drop back pressure and pressure rank in the Power 4, Oklahoma has given up 36% of pressure on their dropbacks, ranking them seventh worst in the Power 4. We've given up 12% sacks on dropbacks, making them the second worst, only worse to South Carolina, I think. South Carolina's first, but they also have like 100 fewer dropbacks than we do.
Yeah.
To the front that we to the front that we face, 5-man pressures, 41%. 41% of the time we face a 5-man pressure, we're giving up 41% of the time we drop back against a 5-man pressure, we're giving up a pressure. Does that make sense? No, pressure. Just hit,
Oh, I
hurry,
got you. I got you.
all
I
of it.
got you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Let me say that again.
It makes
God,
sense. I had sack in my head, so what you said made sense.
well, yeah. And also we're giving up nearly 14% of our dropbacks against 5-man pressures a sack. Like that's a lot, man. I feel like that's quite a bit. So looking at our sacks here, so we have 39 sacks on the year. Yeah. There we go. 22 came from 4-man pressures, 10 came from 5, 6 came from 3, and 1 came from a 6+ man pressure. I think that was a 7. But majority of our
Hmm.
pressures of our 39 have come from 4. Not a
Uh,
4 down front. I mean, this is how many guys are being sent.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a 2 defensive ends and 2. I mean, it could be 4 linebackers. I mean, they just count how many pressure, how many men in pressure. So what that tells me is you got 5 offensive linemen always, and the majority of your pressures are coming from 4. That means slide in, gap in, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
getting beat one on one. Somebody's missing a block somewhere. Majority of the time, you got a running back helping.
Hmm.
I mean, it was just a hot mess.
Yeah. That's bad. That's a bad stat to see, considering what we just said. You got Brennan Thompson running wide open a lot of times, beating his guy. Well,
Yep.
if defense is only bringing 4, you ought to be
Yep.
able to block that and give Arnold time to hit him.
Yep.
That's a shame.
Yep. So this last one, this is drop back pressure. This is comparing completion percentage of the quarterback, the pressure rate, and sack rate. So you can kind of see through the year, like like the story really. I mean, like this run right here, this 4 is Tennessee. You know, pressures go up 42%. Quarterback completion drops 53%. You go to Auburn, and week 5, pressure goes down, completion percentage goes up. You go to Texas, pressure way up, and completion percentage kind of takes a slight dip. Then week 8, South Carolina, this is where you had just a hot mess of a game
Yeah. Hmm.
with 2 quarterbacks starting. One didn't start too well. The pressure rate actually dropped, but so did the completion rate, which is not what you want. And then what happened yesterday, we had pressures go up, but
Hmm.
Arnold played out of his mind. He played great.
Yep.
He had a great game.
He did.
So I mean, if that is not an indicator of like, Jackson Arnold is most likely your quarterback 1 for the year, I'm not sure why, it would take, into week 9 to figure that out, or game 8 to figure out. But I want to come down here. This is the sack rate. Each and every week, starting
Mm.
from week 5, it's been slowly climbing.
Uh-huh.
So as these pressures, you can kind of find a midpoint to these. You can figure out, okay, yeah, there's about a midpoint here, but those pressures are now turning into sacks, and sack rates are going up. So yesterday we had 20% of our 49 dropbacks were sacks, counted as sacks, with 10 sacks on 49 dropbacks. Now you can make an argument, are those really sacks? Are those TFLs or whatever? I think at least 9 of them were sacks. One you could probably say was a TFL because it was absolutely just blown up. But
Right.
at the end of the day, the sack rate is increasing week to week,
That's
and
not
that is
good.
not what you want to see
That's
in the
very
middle
concerning.
of the year.
No.
In the middle of the year, man. Anyway,
No. It started ticking up, that Auburn game, or Tennessee maybe is right when it started going back up. We entered conference play, um,
yep,
and it started going up. And I think, you know, film don't lie. So people are seeing that, and bringing extra pressure when they play us now. I think that's part of it. they know we don't have the ability to block it for one reason or another.
Yeah, so week 5, 8%, Texas 14, South Carolina 16, and then Ole Miss 20. It, that's not a stat you want to see, man. You don't want to see pressure starting to lay in home on sacks. Anyway. So that's the tale of offense, right? Changing up our run scheme, getting better and better in the run game, but opposing defenses are turning those pressures into sacks.
And Rob, is that coaching or is that personnel?
Oh man, I feel like you're kind of paying for your sins on not able to recruit in prior years, and then you're also paying for your sins for not playing the younger guys earlier in the year when guys like Tarquin probably shouldn't have been on the field.
Mm.
And like I go back to that Tulane game where Howland gets pulled after one bad snap. One bad snap, he gets up a sack, he gets yanked. And then Tarquin goes back in and does the exact same thing like a quarter later, but stays in the game. I mean, it just seems kind of like, after, and I know that's Tulane, season still there and everything, but that kept happening over and over again. And I felt like maybe after you realize, after a couple losses and the season is, because what's our standard? Championships, right? Once that was kind of like gone at the wayside,
Mhm.
I mean, those transfers have gotten enough tape out there to go to the next level if they can get to the next level.
Yeah.
These we want to see some more younger guys like Ozida and EPL and Brooks and Iasosa if he can, and Howland get more running, and he did. And Howland uh, did not have a great game yesterday, but if he got worked in, especially why not have him worked in versus Temple and worked in more at some of these games that it was done. So I think it's those two, recruiting and
Yeah.
and everything. And you go to coaching. Coach Beanbo is one of the best in the game. I know a lot of people. He's getting a lot of flack right now, about how his offense is today, but he knows more about offensive line football than 99% of the guys out there. Now, some people are saying he's maybe washed up or like he can't fit in the NIL era and all this stuff. I'm like, you can't take the coach out of coaching. Like you can be a great teacher for a long, long time. And just if you're saying that maybe he didn't pound the table
Hmm.
3 years ago for NIL money, and he wasn't like, "I need money now, give it to me." He wasn't
Yep.
yelling at it like some
Yep.
other coaches were 3 years ago, not just OU. I'm just talking about in the country in general. There was a lot of coaches that are like, "Give me money. I need money for these players." Maybe he didn't do that. He wasn't really like pounding the table saying, "I need dollars and cents today." And he was just going through the motions and recruiting as he normally did and didn't adapt or whatever. I don't know. But he's still a great teacher.
Yep.
I mean,
I
there's
agree. I
it's
agree. And I've seen recruiting's taken a tick up the last 2 years. The
sure.
freshmen that are on campus now and the class that we currently have that hopefully we can keep intact, of course,
Right.
uh, is definitely one of the better classes we've had in years. So, we've made the improvements there the last 2 years in recruiting. So his recruiting's ticking up. Uh, yeah, they weren't great this year. So, you go out and find him a couple of guys and out of the portal in the off season, and not just a couple of, bodies, like legitimate, can't miss guys. When we found them before, the Walter Rouse, Tyler Guyton, Wanye Morris, those guys, if we can find a few of those, blend it with these young guys. Yeah, if you ever let go of Bedenbow, you would stand a chance of hiring someone that's not even close to him, in my opinion.
Sure. And here's the caveat to that is that this offense is historically bad. And like this, the sacks is historically bad. Coach B's never had that. So I would not be surprised if everyone on the offensive staff is let go. I just wouldn't, because it's just that bad.
Sure.
Does that mean I want it to happen? No, but I mean, it's when it's that bad, like nothing can be off the table. Like you have to, like you can't just let someone just be comfortable. And I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but like nothing's off the table. Like it's that bad. Like anybody can be let go, and because of that, like if an OC comes in here, or if he gets hired and he's like, I want these 5 guys,
I know.
you have to give it to him. You
Sure.
have to.
I know.
You
Yep.
gotta let him have the autonomy to say, boom, 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 boom. I want these guys.
Yep.
And if that means Coach B's out, if that means Emmett Jones is out, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we want wins. And if we don't get those wins, then we have to start over.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of follow-ups on that. I don't think Emmett Jones ought to be out. I mean, you lose your 5 best receivers this year.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, for sure.
And I know that's not what you're saying. You're not
No,
saying
no.
that. You're just saying if an OC comes in and he wants his whole staff. Yeah, I
Yep.
got it. Emmett and Bedenbaugh, in my opinion, have bought themselves another year or two. If an OC comes in that doesn't want his staff, to me, those are the 2 guys that I'm holding on to. These 2 guys, maybe other people's aren't so secure.
Sure.
And last note on Bedenbaugh, he's kind of been, unfortunately, and I don't know the right way to say this, but he's created his own problem sort of with all the success he's had on the offensive line, because he didn't expect he expected potentially Rain to come back another year. We lost Caden Green.
Yeah.
Tyler Guyton, when we got him, did we expect him to be a one and done? Not necessarily. But my point is,
And he sat the
he's-
season out last year. I mean, he played only like 6-7
Yeah.
games, and then he just stopped.
his success has created part of this issue, and that we've had guys come in and take the next leap, quicker
Yep.
than maybe what he even anticipated. So,
Yeah.
we could have had a Caden Green on the roster, a Rame on the roster, a Guyton on the roster this year. That roster looks a little different than it
Sure.
does right now.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yep.
let's face it, 2 or 3
Yeah.
guys can make a huge difference on an offensive line when
Yep.
you can't find 5, but maybe you have 3 this year that are consistently playing well, and you just have 2 positions that just can't seem to find the consistency and block well. So
Yeah.
I think I'm of the opinion, offenses, and we talked about it last week, can be fixed in a year. I mean, all you got to do is look at an Iowa, look at an Indiana, look at some of these teams around the country. It can happen. And I don't want to use the word, we're close. We got tired of that word with someone else here, so we don't say that. But the problems we have can be fixed. You're bringing back wide receivers, and if you can fix this offensive line, that's where it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the quarterbacks right now, because we may have to replenish that room quite a bit. Who knows? You just hope you can put your best foot forward and keep an Arnold, possibly a Hawkins. You're definitely not keeping both of them on campus. Let's not sit here and pretend you're
We
just
want
not.
both.
You can't keep them both on campus. I just don't at this point. We're shooting for Arnold. We got to, put our best foot forward, and just hope the, other teams around the country, the Oregons of the world, just don't come dump Nike money in his front yard or whatever. So if we're being honest,
I'm
right?
telling you, Oregon's gonna come hard for him, man.
I know.
I know. Oregon's coming. Oregon's coming, guys. Oregon is coming after Arnold. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. You got some tape you wanting to look at today, or?
Yeah, we can look at offense. Just look at what Joe John Finley did in the first couple quarters, and then wrap it up.
Okay.
Let's do it. All right. So, uh, yeah, so we're running this quarterback counter here, and that was like we mentioned earlier. You know, we're getting we started the game out with counter and insert versus what we had with Latrell, where we kind of slow played with inside zone and split zone. Joe John Finley did exactly what you needed to do to take out these really good edge rushers. And um, I mean, starting off first play of the game, you get a log and a run, and then here we got Arnold down the hole. I mean, and you even had Sexton on the backside come in and get his guy. Like there was misdirection, still expanding on that counter playbook. I didn't really like this where we were trying to cut block and it looked ugly and had nowhere to throw.
Yeah, we got bailed out there with a roughing the passer.
Try to attack the outside and get some misdirection with the counter. They mixed with guard halfback counter, and they ran a little bit of quarterback counter and stuff like that. But all in all, this first drive was pretty good.
Yeah, we saw a couple of chunk plays. There was one of them, that we haven't seen in a couple of weeks too.
And I love this bunch formation. Get a bunch here. You got two tight ends. And I think this is inside zone. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he ran it this one time and then was like, "Nope." That was one of the 4 times. Not going back to that. Jet motion, breakdown, quarterback, decisive quarterback. I don't see it. I'm taking off. Goodbye. Take the free yards. I mean, if you're gonna sit in man coverage like they were, and the Ole Miss played quite a bit of man, a running quarterback is, and I like the little juke move there by Arnold. That's something you see guys on Sunday make. A little pump fake at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I feel like Arnold really did a good job. Taking care of the football, picking and choosing his spots, not forcing it in there. Of course, he did that against Tennessee, and I just feel like he was making a lot of the right decisions. Um, some of our offensive production this week, Rob, I really hope it's not a situation where Ole Miss didn't have a lot of tape of Finley's offense compared to Luttrell's, and we just kind of caught them off guard. I hope it's actually a recipe for things to come,
Yeah, yeah.
a little more. So
So this is one of my favorite plays
the,
of
the
the
diamond formation they pull out every
yeah,
now and then.
diamond,
Yeah.
little pistol. So what I like about this is that you're trying to melt these guys' keys back here. You're gonna get a split flow and you're gonna get counter off of it. And let's watch it first. You're getting counter, and then you're getting that a split flow, or well, maybe not really split flow, but you're getting uh, that you getting Bauer to do this little arc block. You're getting Jake Roberts acting like he's going to run split zone, and you got a tackle and a guard running counter, and then your back is going north and south to hit the hole. You get an awesome. I mean, this is a great kick block by Ozida, and you're getting a great wrap by Sexton here, which maybe would have gotten a little bit of piece, but that is a big boy. He's trying to go over here and block Hoseida, and then Sexton wrapping inside, and you've got Jake Roberts. So you watch these backers are all going to start flowing to their right, watching these getting caught with the whoop, and then just a little bit, and just enough for Sexton to get inside. But I like that play. I hope they can build some stuff off of that. It's again misdirection and going north and south. This is also really cool. You get split zone, but you get the orbit motion and the handoff. Whoop, whoop. Motion, come back, go in. It's almost like a slide. Yeah, it looks like a slide motion. Oh, that's insert. My bad. This is insert all the way. Look how fast Bauer is hitting this
Yeah.
now. I mean, he is he's executing this way faster than he was a few games ago. Like I said, you want him to hold on, sustain that block a little bit longer than just
Yeah.
coming in, but
If you
he's
can
getting
chip
some
them, that's
confidence,
better than
man.
nothing. Yeah.
He's getting way more confidence coming in here. Yeah, I thought Bauer actually, I mean, his physicality in this game went up a notch.
Yeah. I feel like his
Shown a lot of.
manhood's been challenged a little bit
There's your split
this year.
zone.
So.
Yeah. Well, in that Tennessee game, those volunteers were after every play were just basically bitch slapping him. And
Yeah.
in this game, he was
Yeah.
in this game in Ole Miss, he was hitting people and he was jawing with people. He was showing some attitude. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's right. This whole offense needs offensive line blocking needs attitude.
Yeah, they were trying the old Tebow play there, and it didn't quite materialize like we thought it would.
Yeah, you're getting Brennan Thompson coming over here. You get, Jake. Bowers.
That's when you need another big receiver, to make this play a little more successful.
Yeah, I'm not sure that you shouldn't have two receivers that close together on the
No,
goal line,
yeah,
though.
someone didn't run the right route there.
Let me see if I can find another play that I liked. Okay, here we go. So here's again, fake the split zone, and then you get guard, halfback, H-back. Sorry, I keep saying halfback. H-back counter, Bowers and a sniffer, and then you run quarterback with it. This is awesome. Tulane game, they ran this similar play, but it was to Barnes. So he's gonna come in, fake the split zone, come back, block. Then you're gonna have Wee Woo come and block. You're gonna fake the jet. You got the jet motion to keep these guys home, get the linebacker flowing, keep this defensive end there. I mean, misdirection, deception, and then get up north and south. I love it, man. This is stuff, and this is first quarter stuff. This isn't, fourth quarter stuff. I mean, this is, Joe John Finley's breaking tendencies. He's going to this counter stuff early, and they're executing it pretty well. I mean, they were getting yards off of it. Let me see if I can find another play that I liked. I don't know if we have time to watch the whole game.
Yeah, you can cut out the sack plays. We don't need to see any of that.
Yeah, that's later in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Actually, we were going to take a look at those real quick. It's only a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Penalty there, horse tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find another one that I liked in here.
Boy, that one, that play about got busted from the get-go.
Yeah, not too good.
Like the creativity, just we've talked about it before. Just two guys missed their blocks. So
Well, they brought this play in, and then they brought the Bauer Sharp throw too that you've been trying to call. You've been calling for that
Bauer's a
since
good quarterback,
Tennessee.
man.
Yeah, this
I feel
one's
like
ugly. The
yeah, I feel like
pressure.
Jackson was putting a lot of air under some balls that he really didn't need to at times.
Yeah, I mean, he goes real fast where he's throwing fastballs, and then he goes to
Yeah,
like those little trying to go to those touch floaters, but
just a touchdown pass to Bauer Sharp. He should have just put a little more umph on it instead of just lobbing it up there.
oh, this one's cool too. So let's watch this one. So you're gonna get a motion into a block, which is becoming like this motion lead block is becoming more and more popular now. Then you're gonna get Wee Woo pulling, which is awesome because Wee Woo pulled all the time with North Texas. In the first 4 or 5 games, he didn't do anything, and they're asking him to pull quite a bit. And then you're gonna have Bauer coming. You're gonna have 3 guys block on this edge here. They're gonna bring this bring this 5-eye or so sorry 4-eye in, and then you're gonna have this nice edge there. And I mean they need to get that 4-eye to wash down. That will pop. Like that was a really cool play, but they don't ever go to any of those motion leads again. I think they're kind of just testing some stuff out, limited practice time and everything. And then this is awesome because look at all this traffic, man. You're getting like mesh, 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 and then he runs and goes to this corner. You're getting all this traffic. They miss technically. I mean, he collides with I think this the defensive player here, which could have been a penalty because I don't think you're allowed to go up there and just like
Right.
push this guy. But he gets and gets. I mean I thought that was a clever play design. I mean,
hmm
there's all this traffic going left and right, and that safety there gets caught up.
Yeah, well designed. Good pass by Jackson there to stay patient, stay with it, let it develop.
I mean, look at all this.
Fortunately, it's one of those plays where we actually had time to allow it to develop. That's just an example. Give him time. Look what happens.
This guy's eyes, he's like he's looking at
hmm
that running this guy out here. Yeah, see that? His eyes are on this guy. He's flowing this way
Yep.
and then whoop, goes to that corner.
Yep.
That was clever, man.
hmm
That was pretty clever. They must have saw that upstairs, seeing that safety go after the running back to the flat and made him pay for it. Is that Brennan Thompson at the bottom? Just run scot free again. Is that him?
yeah. 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 Of course it is.
That happens
I know.
all the time.
I would say 5 times
I
a
mean, I
game.
know it's a run. I know that's a run play and everything, but upstairs you got to be thinking like,
hmm Yep. The only way this offense can get to the next level is those deep balls. If we can
it.
take the top, if we can't take the top off the defense, this offense has huge restrictions. It can only be so good. But if we can start taking the top off again, Brennan, I don't care, Brennan or someone. Oh,
Yeah, I mean
Jacob
we've only
Jordan's not scared to stick his nose in on blocking either. That kid's a gamer. I'm glad he's found his way onto the field. All 4 guys getting a chance like that.
yeah. Here's insert. He's gonna block inside. Looks like he's targeting this guy, but he's shooting up. He's shooting this gap here. Can't quite get there. I mean, that's just a good call by the defense. But there's insert. Again, insert and counter, insert and counter. Um, couple of variations of pin and pull. Got a pitch sweep. A lot of quarterback run game. I just hope that they don't. I mean, he was decisive with it. Good pocket there. Good
Mhm.
job by Sexton. I mean, first half was pretty dang good, but it was clear once they got into a negative game script without that vertical element, they can just start teeing off. This run was great. And this is insert again. So you see how they before they had them at a wing, right? They had these guys on wings and they were coming across. What they decided to do here is they put them in a sniffer, and you do that because you can you cut down on that space, and it helps you with your angle. He chips this defensive end. Powerful running. Look at Hester coming in here. Look at Hester, man. Hester's out here. He goes over here and starts cracking people, man. He's looking for work, man. He's like, who am I going to get? I'm going to go after this guy. Look at that. So, we watched that tight end insert where they had a backer come blitzing through that B gap, and our guy was on a wing and having to travel all the way over there to kick him out. Well, Joe John Finley in this game actually made some little adjustments that made sense. I mean, for a OC, making those small adjustments, I thought he did a pretty good job, and this is another example of it. So instead of having all these tight ends line up as wings to come in here and do these insert plays, they actually line them up as a sniffer back here, and which shorten the path and makes an easier angle. Instead of come out here, you have to work all the way. You see how that angle's different. So Jake Roberts is going to come in here, bump the defensive end, help the tackle, and then work up to the second level. You got Hester working for work all the way out here, and you got a running back that hits this hole hard and makes guys see arm tackle, arm tackle. I mean, Barnes had a great game,
He
man.
did. He did.
He's a hard runner. He always
Yeah.
has, but he always would either run to the back of a butt off of an offensive lineman or whatever. But he's a hard runner, man. So you got your counter game's working, your insert game's working. What can you do off of it? Here you get counter action to the left with Wee and Tarquin, and then you're just gonna hand the ball off to Barnes with a little read, and this defensive end gets frozen. I mean, they had layers, man. It was
Mhm.
layers, good calling. It wasn't just bashing their heads in with some stuff. I mean, they were building some stuff, and I liked it. The run game is really taking on something of its own. And here again, insert Bauer. I've been negative on him a lot. He's going to insert in. You're going to go north and south with Barnes. I mean, watch this play, man. I mean, Bauer just look at that. That's a pop, man. That's a pop. I mean, Bauer took his blocking to another level this last week, and I have been dragging him through the mud. That
Yep.
dude showed up
Me
like
and
he
you
did.
both. Yeah, absolutely.
His effort was the best effort all year. It showed. He had a good game. Counter again. Quarterback counter. This is all in the first half, man. Like I said, we ran counter like 9 times. Here's quarterback counter. Guard tackle. Let's see what happens here. Down block. You get a log block. You get a wrap. Or I'm sorry, log and run. Yeah, this was executed awesome. So this defensive end's going to try to spill it. Wee going to come in. He's going to log block. He's going to take his outside shoulder, take the defensive end's outside shoulder. You're going to have Tarquin come in, read what the block is on Weewoo, and then run out. And then you've got Jackson Arnold that's just going to follow his man. This doesn't go big, but this tells us that these dudes are working the details of counter because they weren't able to execute this even in the Temple game. Like, they are slowly getting better, and that should, I mean, there's enough in this game conceptually and some of these blocking assignments, as well as they've hit it, to go into Missouri and beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, we'll take a 1-point win, Rob, at this point. I don't know about beating the crap out of anybody at this point in the year. I hope you're right, though.
I know. So you've ran counter, you've run insert, you're being physical, you're going north and south. What can you do? You can go back to your bread and butter and go inside zone. I mean, I know Tatum fumbles on this ball, but this is just simple inside zone here. I mean, that's just simple inside zone. These guys are flat-footed, and you go. And I know he fumbles the ball here, but that we were rolling, man. Like,
Yeah.
we were rolling. Play bag was wide open.
Sure.
They were executing at a high level. They could run inside zone for, a 10-yard gain. Like, that's what you want, man.
Yeah, rhythm, finding holes in the offense, and ultimately, yeah, I hated that play. Ultimately, you could tell Arnold just played with a sense of confidence yesterday.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
I mean, this team is not 4-3, and I'm not looking at a 4-3 team. I know it. We
I
are,
know,
but
I know they're 4-4,
4-4
Rob.
team.
That's why.
Sorry, 4-4.
I'm
Whatever.
just teasing. Yeah, no,
Four
I'm
and
with you.
4.
Well, three of our losses, I feel like we had an opportunity to win had we not had one of those quarters, those terrible quarters or whatever. I think the Tennessee, the South Carolina, and this game, opportunities were there. We just didn't capitalize.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, here's Trey, 3-by-1 Trey to the formation into the boundary. Like I mentioned on that when we were looking at the stats, this is their set right here for like the entire fourth quarter. Like, it felt like it was like a lot. Pocket's good. I mean, Arnold does not look at this pocket, man. That's good. That's
Clean,
great.
very clean. Almost
3
got away with a
yards.
hold there.
Let's
You
over here.
you mentioned, yeah, over to the left. Yeah, he was locked up with him and let go at the very last second not to get the flag. You can tell he was worried about it too. Watch him here.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It's close. You
Yeah,
mentioned
it
Weewoo.
looks
I thought Weewoo had one of his better games.
Yeah, and they're asking him to pull more, which, like I said, when we were watching we watched like 15 games in North Texas, like, they were asking him to pull like
Yeah,
10 to
you need to
15
back
times a
up.
game.
Well, right there, look at Bauer. You talked about it earlier. Bauer just tries to annihilate that guy.
I'm telling you, Bauer went into like beast mode. Yes, sorry. Yeah, Bauer went into beast mode
He did.
with this insert play. Like, he obviously heard the soft stuff,
Sure.
and he was like, nope.
Yeah, he took it to heart. Yep.
Look at
Boom.
that.
That's a
That's
block,
awesome.
man. That's a block right
He
there.
he was mean. He was going out there to absolutely rip someone's head off. I love it, man. Good for you, Bauer. Keep it up,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Keep it up. So we're closing out the first half, and what you see is just an offense that is just physical. They're getting north and south. I mean, Barnes isn't really, there were some outside plays where they were trying to keep the defensive ends honest, but um, they were wanting to come into Oxford with physical play, and they did for that first half, and uh, just great. I mean, that second half we can just touch up on as we talk. I mean, they get away from the counter game, they get away from
Mhm.
the insert. They go more inside zone and they go more split zone, and then the script gets away from them, and they have to throw more. And when you got to throw more, you got to pro more. And when you got to pass pro, and you're not very good at pass protection, you give up sacks and you get negative yards, and then
Mhm.
it's just quicksand. You just fall into quicksand, and you just start to sink. But this first half, there's a lot you can take, a lot of good you can take. Tight end effort, quarterback run. Um, when you've got a positive game script, your offensive line can protect. I didn't think Highland had a bad first half. I thought he was good. I mean, he got away with a hold there, and you obviously got to give him a little bit of help for a guy that starting getting his first real time in the SEC against some really good pass rushers. But there's a lot that you could build upon on this offense.
Mhm.
You mentioned it before, the vertical element's missing. You need the vertical element somehow. You need to get these guys to back the F up from the box, because there's plays where there's like 8 guys that are run fitters, and they're
Mhm.
just buzzing and taking off as soon as and we can't can't have that. But uh yeah, this is ooh,
That's a good pass and catch there just to secure the ball.
yep.
Put it right in his belly. Yep.
Got to score here. There's your split zone. Didn't work, right? Got to go back to your bread and butter, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get that counter going. They're just crashing hard into it. You got
Yeah.
to make them pay.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. I know it. Shoot tackle.
and this is just
Uh, Arnold made the same guy, I think, miss twice here on this touchdown pass. First time's there, comes
yep.
back, makes him miss
Yep.
there,
Yep.
or that play
Arnold had
never
a great
happened.
game, man.
He
That
did.
that's
He did.
quarterback play. That's
Yep.
that's quarterback play that you need. You need that in
Yep.
today's
Arnold, I'm
game.
really looking forward to seeing you in an OU uniform next year. You got a lot of promise.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that first half was good. It was
Mhm.
great,
Yeah.
and
More than
we could
that's all
go
you can
through
ask
that
for.
whole, and there's so much to build upon there. I'm really hoping that they can keep expanding their counter game, but going, we got to find a vertical element, man. We
Yeah.
see it all the time. Brendan Thompson's running free, but we can't get it to him. I once we get into a bye week, I'm assuming they'll figure something out. Because when you look at some of those route concepts, still to this day, watching this week in week out, the only like vertical route combo I see is either a fade, a cross, or they do a switch release and you get a post and a wheel. That's it. And maybe a new OC who fresh eyes,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more time, can say, okay, we need to get a little bit more creative here. Let's do double posts. Let's do a post and a skinny post, or let's go dagger. Maybe put Brendan Thompson in a slot, send him down the seam on a cover, versus cover three. I mean, there's so much stuff you could possibly do, but maybe a little bit more time and fresh eyes. He can figure something out. But I will say I was kind of surprised by those little adjustments Joe John Finley was making through the game,
Mhm.
and he put up a game script that was just as good or better than Seth Luttrell's versus Tulane, but he did it again on the road against a better opponent. I mean, I'm looking
Yeah.
at Tulane's first half was really good. That was great scripted counter
Mhm.
quarterback run. You remember
Mhm.
Jackson Earl had a counter read for 47 yards. I mean, it was Joe John Finley came back to it and counter quarterback run. So,
Yeah. So I'll sort of kind of put you on the spot right now, but not really.
oh boy.
So we saw Latrell's offense for what 6 games, 7 games.
Yep.
So we've seen just one of Finley, but we've also seen a couple of years of Levy. So is the Brile system the one that we just need to adopt and stick with?
Well, I'm biased. The veer and shoot
Uh,
works. I know a lot of
Yeah,
people are like, no, and some people are like, yay.
yeah.
I'm biased. I like it. For the college football game, it's lethal as hell. That's why everyone uses it. Lane Kiffin uses it.
Hmm.
Levy uses it.
Hmm.
Uh, Bama runs like
Sure.
they still have. There's elements of the deep choice. What I don't see in this veer and shoot offense is deep choice routes. We don't have choice routes. There's not option routes
Hmm.
because our pass protection doesn't get us there, and our quarterback processing is a little bit limited. But that veer and shoot system is lethal as hell, man. Like it's so hard to defend.
Yeah, yeah.
Teams don't have enough fast corners and safeties with range to cover that much grass. They just don't have it. In the NFL, it's different because teams are, margin is you have to be way more creative than a veer and shoot because
Sure.
veer and shoot's not really creative. It
Right.
it just stresses the field and takes advantages of athletic profiles, and you can get track athletes as wide receivers like Brendan Thompson or Nick Anderson,
Hmm.
like you can score points. But looking out there, I'm not sure what OC is out there.
Yeah.
Joe
That was
John might be your best option.
it's that's why I posed the question, because that's kind of where I was going with
I
it.
know
I
where
mean,
you're going.
we've seen you know just one game this year. I get it, but we saw 2 years with Levy. We saw that offense have success. It was limited because we didn't have a tight end under Levy. We and Gabriel's inability to you know make people pay across the middle of the field.
Yep,
Otherwise, hell, that was a top 10 offense when Levy was here both years, I'm
yep.
pretty sure. So we've seen the success it can have. So I only bring it up, because of what if this what if this continues for the next 4 games? What if we see this success? Do you go ahead and think about keeping Finley and
Whew.
I'm
Some
not
people are I
I
know.
know, I know, I
I'm
get it.
I'm
That's
just
not a
saying what
popular
I
opinion.
see.
It's not a
I
popular opinion. Everybody
it's
wants
not.
to turn over
The
the
big
offense, and I
Will
get it.
Stein. We want Will
I
Stein. Give us
I
Stein,
yeah, we
and
can't
it's like,
yeah, we not breaking the bank on that guy, but, um, I don't know where I'm gonna be in 4 weeks if this offense looks successful, I guess is kinda where I'm at, Rob. Then I'm gonna
I
be
know
like, is wholesale change really needed on the offensive side, or was it just a
looking at
personnel and
yeah,
different system?
looking looking at the play calling in this first half really kind of surprised me because it was executed really well. The blocking assignments, the physicality. You saw Joe John Finley's room actually elevate. Like it was a dumpster fire. Bauer actually had a great game. Like he had a good game. And you're telling me that I don't know. I would be surprised too, but I'm just saying I see the little adjustments he's made and they were pretty clever. He made
I
little
know.
clever adjustments and he put
Yeah.
together a great script in that first.
Yeah, no,
5 receivers
it
out, offensive lineman,
yeah, it looked
shuffle,
good this
shuffle,
week.
shuffle.
There's a chance it's gonna look really good next week. And what if we go to Missouri and it looks real good,
I
Rob?
will
And here we
I will
go.
I don't know what I will
I
say
know. I
if
know.
uh, I would be happy for it if it
Yeah,
works. I mean, if I
yeah.
keep seeing more counter stuff like that and physical play effort across the board, like I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I want more. I want more. We have to see more because it's been
There's
so freaking bad
there's
for so
hey,
long. You have to see more.
here's the way I look at it. There's nothing wrong with having you know, an option inside the building right now as your potential.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't think the fan base, which fan base doesn't matter. I don't know if the boosters, the athletic director, and all those people are really gonna settle for that,
I want to
even
see
if it
more.
looks good after another 5 weeks.
I want to see more before I but that is very intriguing. We can keep having these
Yeah,
conversations
sure.
because I like it. I think it's conversations that some other people probably wouldn't have, but um he made some really clever adjustments and I thought he did really well and I hope he keeps building upon it. Especially after a week. I mean, it's only been a week
Mhm.
and we went on the road. What's to say after a bye week?
Three
I mean,
weeks
he's
of
gonna get a
building.
bowl game, right? He's gonna
We'll
get a
get
bowl game. I mean,
if we
if
beat
we get 2
Missouri.
wins and we go
Mhm.
into a bowl game, he'll
Yep,
be the OC for the
yep,
bowl game with
exactly.
3 weeks to prepare.
Mhm.
That's a hell of a
Or he might not.
or he might not.
We
Or he
don't
might
know.
not,
We're just
right?
we're just throwing it out there that you know we have a potential option in the building, and which we already knew we had. But um, I'm all for going and getting a lead offensive coordinator. Coach A, Coach B, whatever. Just find that guy. I'm not
Yeah,
opposed to that, but if this materializes and ends up being something, then great. Uh, I think I think that's just. I know the cards are kind of stacked against that at this point, but that's okay.
sure.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
we go 4-0 and we're 8-4.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut your face. Just shut up.
Oh,
What the All right, are we good? I think we're good. I think we touched up everything.
yeah,
Defense played well, had some
yeah,
busts.
yeah.
Run defense is great. Offense, run game good. Quarterback Arnold stepped up. Tight end physicality. Running back Barnes had a great game physicality. Um, pass protection not good. Getting worse really. Worse than the country really. Um, and we've got Maine coming up. We're beating the shit out of Maine. That I don't want to hear. I'm not going to read any crap about how Maine's going to give us. We're gonna win. End of story. We got one more win. Let's get it against Missouri. Missouri soft as Charmin. With this new physical run game and a physical defense, we should beat the crap out of them. Get her, get that win, and then we can start building on the future. Did I leave anything out?
No, yeah, that sounds like a great game plan for the next few weeks. So,
Yeah,
it's obvious this team, has not thrown in the towel or anything like that. They show up every week and the effort's there. So, just keep execution on the offensive side of the ball, and let's just kind of see where this road takes us. So,
right on.
yep, appreciate everyone joining us today. Hope we celebrate a win next weekend and kind of break this losing streak we got and start off with a positive start to our podcast and not having to talk
Yeah, I
about a
know, right?
loss again. So
Yeah.
that should happen. So appreciate it, everyone. Until next week, Boomer Sooner.
Thanks, guys.